Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi, friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That, a movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are discussing the Santa Claus. And stick around until the end because we will be doing our top 4 favorite portrayals of Santa Claus in movies and TV.
The Santa Claus, with an E at the end. On Christmas Eve, divorced dad Scott Calvin and his son discover Santa Claus has fallen off their roof. When Scott takes the reins of the magical sleigh, he finds he is now the new Santa and must convince a world of disbelievers, including himself. Released in November 1994, the number one song in the US this time, I'll Make Love to You by Boyz II Men.
Aww.
It was like the number one song for like 12 weeks. I looked at the list on Wikipedia and was like, wow, this is
Boyz II Men were a
crazy.
big deal in that time period.
I'm going to say they had the next number one song after that too, just a grip on everything, which is crazy. So also in world news at this time, the first PlayStation launches in Japan just a couple weeks before this movie came out. And Mariah Carey's Merry Christmas album is released, which has all of our favorite classic hits on that. And then also in Broadway news, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Sunset Boulevard debuted on Broadway at this time. The Santa Claus was directed by John Pasquin and stars Tim Allen, Judge Reinhold, Wendy Krausen, David Krumholtz, and Peter Boyle. This is our second straight Tim Allen movie and our second Judge Reinhold movie in 3 Christmas films and our second David Krumholtz movie of 2025.
Getting our fill of these people.
I love it. I love it. With a $22 million budget, this movie had a $190 million box office. This movie opened number 2 to Interview with a Vampire, but just a couple weekends later, climbed to number 1 for 2 weeks in a row. The Thanksgiving weekend, as well as the weekend after that. This movie was, somewhat well received by critics. This has a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 57% on Metacritic. And this is the first of 3 movies and a Disney Plus show in the Santa Claus franchise.
Cool. Thank you. Ben, why don't you give us your history with this movie?
I feel like this is like one of the quintessential You Haven't Seen That movies that we've ever done. I mean, there have been a few, I think, where we've been like, oh, well, this is definitely a major You Haven't Seen That. But I feel like given my age, this is like right up at the top, possibly. I mean, I was the same age as the kid in the movie. I feel like everybody saw this movie when we were growing up. And I was like right at the sweet spot when it came out, too. So, but for whatever reason, I didn't watch it. And I did see a lot of Christmas movies. Like, that was like, we found when we've tried to pick movies for this podcast that Christmas movies there's not as many to choose from because I've seen more of them. And, but I think my parents were not big Tim Allen fans. And I think, we just didn't, we didn't have a lot of money to go see things at the movies. So I'm sure that's why we didn't go see it in the theaters, but why we never saw it on video or on TV. I don't really have an explanation for that, except that I don't know, there's just always other Christmas ones we wanted to watch instead. And so this is one that just feels to me like a very shocking blip in my movie history that I had not seen this until now. So obviously I'm very familiar with the title and the general premise of it. So So I kind of knew that. And I had forgotten that the Claus was like a play on words, but I didn't know that. I just had forgotten.
All right. And what about you, Geoff?
I'll be honest, this was a later discovery for me in terms of Christmas movies. This was one that was never held in high regards in my household. We never watched this regularly. It was just one of those where on the Disney Channel or on ABC or whatever it would come on. It's like, oh, I'll tune onto this for a few minutes. It wasn't until I was much older, when I was in college and a young adult, that I really caught on to the Santa Claus and would watch it semi-regularly during this time of year. So while it has now become an annual tradition for me to watch this movie, just like it never was a big deal to me growing up. So kind of a recent discovery for me as well, but at least coming into this episode, I had seen it a few times.
All right. And I was one of those people that Ben was talking about, that I watched this when it came out. I probably didn't go to the theaters to see it, I assume, but definitely watched this repeatedly when I was a kid, and obviously still do. So, Geoff, give us your rating for the Santa Claus.
This movie is a tough one to rate specifically, and it's one that I fluctuated with over time, but I feel pretty confident in kind of putting this kind of smack dab in the middle in terms of star rating. So I'm going to go with a solid 3.
All right. And what about you, Ben?
So as you know, I really hated Christmas with the Cranks.
One and
I mentioned on last week's podcast that I'm not a big Tim Allen fan. I never really was into Home Improvement. I definitely didn't like Christmas with the Cranks. I haven't really watched his sitcoms much that have come out since then. So I went in with kind of low expectations, and I watched this with my son, whose name is the same as the child in the film. And I actually really liked it. I was like, this is like, I thought it was clever. I thought it was very Christmassy. I thought like it was a clever premise and it was executed well. And I was like, this to me, like kind of fits right in with these Christmas movies. Like I expect it to be like one of those ones where like you think, oh, maybe I would have loved this if I had first seen it as an 8-year-old, but I really enjoyed it much more than I thought I was going to. I'm giving it a 4.5.
Nice.
Wow. Look at you
Love
go.
it.
I'm impressed and a little surprised.
I was very surprised. I was like halfway through the movie and I was like, am I liking this?
Wait, do I love it? No. I like it.
And then like my wife came in towards the end and my son was totally enraptured by it. Even which is kind of surprising because he's more into like cartoons right now and stuff.
Right.
Live action things. But I think the Santa Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And she came in and I was like, I think this is not bad. Like, I was like,
has she seen it before?
She had seen it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So for me, this movie has, I feel like, flip-flopped a lot for me over the years. When I was younger, I really loved it. And then in my older years, I've kind of turned on it a little bit. But I think I'm back to more on the side of liking it. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Nice.
3.5, yeah. It feels right for this year. It's an increase from the last time I watched it. I gave it a 3.
There you go. This is currently 12th of the season, ranked number 12 out of 28. So above the halfway point.
Yeah. It's tied for
that.
second on my personal ratings.
Yeah. Look at that. It is just ahead of Freaky Friday and just below Halloween. So here we go. Another seasonal movie. That does feel right.
So I'm curious what made you like turn on it over the years, Amanda, and Geoff, why you're kind of just lukewarm on it. Like I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I did like it, but I'm like curious. I'm curious what I have some like critiques of the plot and stuff and things like that, but I still was like, to me, it was like it scratched the same itch that something like Home Alone does. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it does scratch that itch, but This movie loses me in the middle. I love the beginning. I love the discovery of the whole Santa Claus and the North Pole and the world and everything. And then there's just too much familial drama with the divorce and the custody rights, and just kind of that all kind of bogs it down a little bit for me. I do enjoy some of the pieces that happen in the middle, but overall I'm just not super into that. And then when we get back to the end, when he's like, "Yes, I am Santa," and he, goes and does Santa again, I'm totally in again. And I'm so happy. Like, yes, I love the North Pole. I love the elves. I love Santa. Let's do it.
I think for me, the only reason I'm lukewarm on it is the child acting of it all and the Charlie of it all. I just find Charlie so annoying. And I know that's the point. It drives me up a wall, and I know it's the point. And maybe if I was a father, I would feel differently about this. But Charlie and the kids just kind of irk me a little bit and drive me up the wall a little bit. A little too annoying for my taste, per se. I think there are moments, but it's just a lot more cringy than anything else. Kind of falls into the same camp as like a Hocus Pocus, per se, where when we're not focused, when we're not centralized on, in that case, the Sanderson sisters, or in this case, Scott Calvin, I'm just so out of it. I'm just like, all right, when can we get back to Scott? But I think it's a movie that's definitely, I've fluctuated with it like Amanda has over time. And who knows, maybe in time I'll grow to appreciate this even more. Maybe I will grow to a point where I'm like, I don't care. There are even points of this movie where I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. Like, this is just fun. But yeah, I think that's the only reason I'm more lukewarm on it than I am with other comforting Christmas movies.
That's fair. I don't know that I necessarily agree about the child acting in it, because there's certainly movies where I cannot stand the children. Hocus Pocus was one of them. I didn't find that to be the case here, actually, in this movie, but to each their own.
I agree with you.
I will also say I watched this in 2 installments, and maybe that helped with what you were saying, Amanda, because my son got tired, and we just watched about half of it one night, and then we finished the other half the next day, and maybe that helped. Sometimes I think that hurts when I watch movies that way, but maybe this one benefited from it.
Didn't get stuck in the middle.
We dusted off the old VHS.
Oh, nice.
The tape player.
Yeah, my VHS is a little rough. There were a couple times where we had big lines going through, and
now, why did you choose to do that instead of Disney Plus?
Because it adds to the nostalgia.
Okay.
Physical media,
Picture
baby.
was kind of grainy.
Well, no, I
It was
support
a little
physical
dark.
media, but like this one you could get on streaming.
Well, and it was fun too that we got ads for Toy Story coming out and for Pocahontas.
Oh, wow.
Something about the Johnny Carson show.
Most importantly, though, we got an ad for Tim Allen's book.
Wow.
Before the movie even started.
That must have been in his contract.
I'm sure.
You guys have to advertise my book.
Tim Allen was a big deal in the 90s.
That's fair.
Oh, yeah.
I looked it up too. This was like his first real major film performance.
Yeah, but it was after Home Improvement was like the #1 show on TV.
Exactly. And on the box, on the VHS box itself, it advertises Golden Globe winner Tim Allen stars, and then a little fine print. It's like Best Actor, Home Improvement. It's like, oh, cool. There it is.
This was definitely the most I've ever liked Tim Allen in anything. Because like I said, this doesn't change my opinion of him in a lot of other things.
Right.
From really hating him like last week to being just whatever about him, like in most of his TV things I've ever seen. But I don't know. I actually thought the premise was clever, and I thought, like I said in my rating, like that it was carried out well, and I think he was responsible for a lot of it being carried out well, because I felt like it was believable, the gradual transition to Santa Claus. Like I thought that it was well paced with that, and he was like, from his kind of disbelief to accepting it, to me felt like a natural progression, and felt, I don't know, believable. It felt more believable to me than this movie than Christmas with the Cranks.
something.
Yeah, but like I felt like I bought like when he came on board with it. Like I bought the progression he had as a character.
Yeah, it is very rewarding at the end there. I know for me, I get kind of. I mean, I know I shouldn't care about this, but the whole timeline, like Amanda kind of hints at with the middle of the movie, I'm like, oh, what month are we in? Like, how are we progressing through this? It's not really like at the end of the movie when he's fully like on board with being Santa and he takes Charlie. Like, is that Thanksgiving or is that Christmas Eve? And trying to
I
figure
think
out
it's
like
supposed
the
to be
right
Christmas Eve, I think.
Okay, because I know Bernard says you're supposed to be back by Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right.
But I don't know if like did he
Yeah.
just abduct Charlie for like a month? And it's like, hey, you're
Oh.
coming to my lair in North Pole
Yeah.
for a month.
No,
I don't
there's
know.
I certainly at the end was like, some of this isn't quite lining up for me. And
Yeah, it's a little muddy.
the most muddy part for me was like, and I'm jumping right to the end of the movie here with this, but like they arrest Santa and take him away in the police car. And everybody's like, okay, case closed. I was like, but the kid is still on the roof. And do we know where the kid is? Like they're all acting like it's been solved because they caught him. I'm like, but did you actually find the kid? Because he's up on the roof. And we're acting like we don't care.
They don't. They just wanted to get the perpetrator.
They just wanted to nab him.
We have the paperwork. Like, we can start it now. We're good.
And it almost even felt like the mom and the boyfriend were like moving on. Like they're like, well, we got him. You know, I'm like, but your son is still not home, guys.
Charlie.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was, I also felt like, I mean, if we're sticking with the criticisms here, like a leap to the mom believing, like that was not as, you know, that did not happen as, you know, satisfactorily as him believing, as
right.
You know, Malin believing it.
Yeah, and especially with the way that she just jumps on board with Neil throughout the whole process of the custody situation, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm just so mystified by the magic of Santa Claus. Like whatever, like, are sure about that?
I know that's like the Christmas magic of like movie that happens all the time in movies, but like,
right?
Still, as like, I don't know, that she jumped into that real fast to being fine with it.
Yeah.
After he just abducted the kid for, I guess, possibly a month.
Unknown, maybe a day, maybe a month. Who knows?
I don't think it was a month. I think it was like a week ish.
Okay.
If I had to guess.
I mean, that's a long time to then be fine with him taking him again like 2 minutes later.
I know. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I also always
it felt to me all like one night. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it is. We do not know.
Yeah. A little hazy.
Not communicated.
Boy, Neil is a real awful character, though.
I was about to say Neil might be. He's up there for Christmas.
He's up there on like the worst characters I've ever.
We just had a whole discussion about Christmas villains in the last episode between Blair, Crank, but I don't know whether Neil is at that level. But like, he is bad in this. He's trying to win. I it's an interesting portrayal of child custody situations, but like, he needs to win over Scott. Scott can't do anything. I need to beat Scott. And he's also the typical doctor. Oh my gosh, it is so.
He's so awful. He is just, and he's so insufferable even from the very. He's like he's like that character from, what was that movie we watched? Oh, Midnight in Paris. He reminds me of. He reminds me of that same type of character. Oh, he's so irritating.
So irritating. Oh my gosh, so frustrating.
One of the things that frustrates me the most about the middle portion, not only like the drama with the custody and everything, but also like the fact that everyone comes down so hard on Charlie and Scott on Charlie for believing in Santa and that the North Pole is real and everything. And then coming down so hard on Scott for being like, why are you letting him believe this? You're leading him on. Like, all this. I'm like, guys, is it really all that serious? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand. I think we need to calm down. Yeah,
exactly.
He's not that old.
8 years old. When they're all together after in the classroom, when when Charlie talks about his dad being like, my dad is Santa Claus, and then they go into I assume the principal's office or guidance counselor's office, and they're all talking back and forth, and Neil goes, may I speak? I am a doctor. I was like, shut the hell up, dude.
Yeah. And the problem
Oh.
is that like there are people like Neil. Like this isn't just some like
1000%.
cartoony villain. Like this is like
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I know people like this, and I
Ugh.
Yeah,
Ugh.
we all do.
yeah.
Yeah, I work with
Which-
doctors. I know. Oh.
Sweater Game's not bad though. I know he gets a lot of crap
definitely
for the
rocking
movie,
the
but
'90s sweaters. Yeah.
Sweater Game's not bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about some things that we liked.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go to that.
And one of the things that I really like is the score of this movie.
Mm.
Like, I don't know. Obviously, Ben, this wouldn't apply to you, but like I just listen to all the music in this soundtrack and it sounds like childhood Christmas. Like
I believe it. Yeah.
it's not iconic in the same way that some other, Christmas movie scores are, but it's so good. It's got that light magical feeling. And then also having that one, who sings that? The Drifters? Yeah, version of White Christmas.
Oh yeah.
No, I love that one. And when they go
Yeah.
to Denny's, oh,
Yes.
so good. So good.
Which Denny's hasn't changed that much.
Nope.
Like you see all those old, like, get nostalgic for all those old chain restaurants in a lot of these 90s movies. And I was like, oh, it's pretty much the same.
So they do have candles lit at every single table. for
That's true.
Christmas
You won't
Eve.
see
I
that
don't know
now, but yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if the Dunkirk Denny's does that. They
That's
should,
fair.
but if they don't.
Real flames there.
Yeah.
I agree about the score. Something else I loved was I loved the depiction of the North Pole and the elves.
Was literally just about to
Just
say the
being
same
so
thing.
different. Like I
Yeah.
just think what a unique choice they made there about that. That it wasn't what you always see with the elves and the North Pole, and that
Mhm.
they totally had their own spin on what these characters would be like and what the mechanisms of the North Pole would be like.
Hmm.
For sure.
It's so magical.
It really is. It is Christmas magic to a T. And
Yeah.
the fun little bits with the reindeer thrown in and everything, and the way each of those rooms are built out. Yeah, they do a really great job in designing that whole area and that whole world.
And I wonder
Yeah.
what the thinking was behind not making the elves little red and green short.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like the way elves
Yeah.
are always depicted, and what
Yeah.
made the workshop look much more like a factory than like a Christmassy kind of. I don't know. Like I'm curious why the artistic choices were made
Yeah.
for a movie like this that is very much so standard in many ways of being like a standard Christmas film. Why they chose to make those so different.
Maybe it's a combination of the budget and practical effects of it all. Maybe it's a case where we didn't want to digitize it too much. Maybe there was a specific kind of charm to it, which clearly has lasted well over the
Oh, for sure.
over
Yeah.
time. But
Yeah.
yeah, this movie didn't have a massive budget, relatively speaking. Yeah, and I'm assuming, even though it was maybe like $20 million ish, whatever I said, I'm sure a good chunk of that went to Tim Allen.
Probably. Yeah.
They probably needed to still fit within there, so it's like, okay, we're not gonna like digitally create all of these elves or whatever. We'll just have kids. We'll build this thing out, and while I think the kids are annoying or whatever, there's a charm to it, and there's a cuteness to it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Bernard is my favorite elf of all time. I love
All time.
him. Well,
More
I don't
than
know
Buddy?
all time, but
Oh yeah.
I've-
Buddy versus Bernard. Yeah.
I've always loved Bernard. I don't know. There's just something about him, but he's my favorite.
Yeah, Bernard's cool. Shout out Bernard. He's seen some stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bernard's been around the block.
Sure has. Also, I've always wanted the hot cocoa that Judy gives Scott. It just, I mean, the way she describes it, and took her 1,200 years to perfect the recipe. It's got to be good, but
Oh, it has to be.
it's one of those things that you see in a movie as a kid, and you're like, oh, I just want that so bad.
Hot cocoa is one of those things that I don't have a lot, and every time I do, I'm like, dang, hot cocoa's so good.
I know. When you have a good hot cocoa, it hits so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I know Amanda, especially this is, I'm gonna throw Amanda under the bus here a little bit. Amanda has high standards for hot cocoa. and is very judgmental of hot cocoa. And if it's too watery, she can tell, and
Too
I can
watery
tell
is a
too.
big problem with hot cocoa.
That's the thing.
It
Is
is.
like if you make it too watery, like we can tell immediately. It's like, ugh, that just brings a very sickening feeling to it. But when it's like thick and rich and everything,
Yeah.
it's
And
so
maybe
good.
that's why I disrespect hot cocoa, because I'm like, maybe I've had too many watery ones in my life that I'm just like, always like, do I really need it? And then when you have a
Mhm.
good one, which I had one recently, and it's like, so I like, when I was growing up, my mom would put a candy cane in, and so now
Oh.
even to this day, any sort of mint drop
Yes.
that works
Love-
makes it work.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds so good.
definitely.
Two questions about the North Pole I had written down. One, how many Santas has Bernard dealt with? I know we were
lot.
talking about like Bernard has seen some stuff. I need to know how many Santas he's dealt with, because he's got the
Yeah.
spiel down and everything. He
Well,
knows
I
the
read
clause.
when I was doing a little reading, I read that at some point you meet like the previous Santa again in like one of the sequels. I don't know if you guys have seen the sequels, but
No.
I think on the TV show it's played by Jerry from The Office, Jerry, Gary, Larry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, from
And
Parks
on
and
the
Rec.
TV show,
Parks and Rec.
yes, I said The Office, Parks and Rec. Yikes! And that was in the TV show. I think it was somebody else in the film, but I feel like I read, and maybe don't quote me here, but I feel like I read that he was number 17, which would make Tim Allen number 18.
Ah, all right.
But
That's
now,
pretty
do I
crazy.
know that Bernard was with all of them? I don't know.
That's fair. And Bernard is also hundreds of years old. So
Right.
he's, yeah.
Well, if Judy's been making hot cocoa for 1,200 years,
Yeah.
I feel like there have to be more than 18 Santas. But at the same time, as you guys were talking about this, I was like, okay, well,
Okay.
once someone's become Santa, do they still maintain a regular human lifespan and like
No, I don't
aging?
think so. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's fair.
Yeah.
There could be 18 then.
Yeah. It says, okay. Yeah. So on the TV show, it says Jim O'Hare is Santa Claus XVII, the 17th, Calvin's predecessor and the 17th successor to St. Nicholas, referred to amongst the previous holders of the Santa Claus mantle as number 17. This man acted the role of Santa for decades, from the Great Depression until the night Scott Calvin became Santa Claus. So that's like 60 years.
All right.
Okay.
He chose
Until he fell off a roof like a fool.
Yeah. And then it's revealed that he retired to the afterlife after choosing his successor correctly. So he didn't actually die. I don't know. There's some weird lore here.
Okay.
Maybe like
he got ascended Mother Mary style to the North Pole or whatever.
Not my Santa.
there should be a Santa conclave. Like a mashup, like a Christmas conclave.
We need a Christmas conclave. If the movie Conclave has taught us anything from last year, is that we need more conclaves.
It's like Conclave 2 is like a Christmas theme.
Oh my goodness.
Make it happen, Hollywood. That's a free idea.
Hey, Pope Leo's American. He just went on a whole spiel with Variety talking about the greatness of cinema. He could fit in there as a cameo. Why not?
Be incredible.
Oh my gosh. The second question I had was, who is putting on the puppet show at all times? Is that like a whole magic thing? You know, when they go to the bedroom and Scott's changing or whatever, and the puppets all go crazy. I'm like, are there just elves playing around with the puppets like at all times? Is that like a
No.
magical puppet set? Is that just supposed to be like permanently in the North Pole and not given away to kids? Like, I'm curious about that.
It's a permanent fixture in the North Pole, and the puppets are living magical puppets. There are no elves playing with the puppets. They just are.
Imagine like the elf, like who's like, "Oh, I'm here to make toys." Like, "Oh, you're on puppet duty."
Fair enough. But back to Judy's
I
Hot
love that
Cocoa.
Geoff just took Amanda's answer like as if it's fact.
I'm going with it. It's better than- hey, I'm cool with it. I
Say
accept
something confidently enough. People will
Hey.
believe that.
What was it? Back to Judy's Hot Cocoa. So the YouTube channel, Binging with Babish, which is a popular YouTube channel, 10 million subscribers, whatever. He used to do this more often, but he used to recreate recipes from movies and TV shows. And he tried to recreate Judy's Hot Cocoa from the Santa Claus. And I remember him distinctly saying, you're not supposed to shake anything hot like that. When Judy says she does her hot cocoa shaken, not stirred, you can't really shake something hot and have it be contained like you can with a martini or whatever. If you shake up something hot like that with pressure, it's just going to explode. So I need to know the magic, Judy. We need to know the magic.
I
Come
think
on,
you
Judy.
didn't try hard enough.
Fair enough.
What was I gonna say? There's a lot of body shaming in this movie
Yes.
that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily age well, but also
No.
it's like it's one of those situations where it's like, sure, this guy was, like whatever average weight, and then just like comes in one day and is, he said to his doctor, 45 pounds in a week. Like,
And the doctor was like, cut back on the sweets.
I know. I was like, even if you ate like only cookies and milk for an entire week, you would not gain
You would not gain 45 pounds.
It's like, he's a terrible doctor.
I know. I was like, the doctor like had
No idea.
I wrote that down too. Like, absolutely no help at all.
No. Also, leave it to my people, the marketers, for body shaming him into oblivion and shaming him during his meal. On behalf of all marketers, I apologize. But yeah, that was tough.
Yeah. I was like, why is everyone sitting around waiting for him to finish his food? Like, we really can't start the meeting.
Nope. Well, the Jeopardy music is playing in the background.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. So, Ben, a little fun fact for you if you didn't already read it online. But if you ever decide to watch this movie again, anytime there is a scene with children, you will spot elves. They are keeping tabs on Scott Calvin throughout the entire movie.
Oh.
There's
I noticed
elves
it
in
at the
Charlie's
end, but-
classroom. They make
Oh.
it very obvious at the end,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
when he has all the kids lining up to sit on his lap, there's an elf there. In the classroom,
Interesting.
there's elves. In
I
the
like
very
that.
beginning of the movie, there's elves. So it's a fun thing to look out for.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
It
can we talk about the ELFS? Elves. with attitude. Tinsel.
We're-
Not just for decoration.
We're your worst nightmare.
They're so silly, but I love them.
Shout out to the head of R&D in the North Pole when Charlie is radioing to them, being like, "Guys, Santa's been taken by the police." No, our head of R&D, no stress whatsoever, is like, "Well, time to call in the ELFs." Like, no
This
worries
sounds like
whatsoever.
it.
Bernard showed some urgency, but yeah, that kid was like, "We got this. It's fine."
And it really was. They had no problem breaking him out.
Yeah, it was very.
Zero.
And they didn't like break a sweat, I feel like.
No. Cakewalk. There was no stress at any point that they might not be able to achieve
No, they
their
were
objective.
very sure it was going to be fine.
Absolutely. And at one point, I did like when they show up on the roof and Charlie's up there and the one head ELF guy is like, "Don't worry, we're the good guys." And the entire movie, we're like, where has there been a bad elf? Where on planet Earth would Charlie even think that there is a bad guy involved in this?
Maybe in the sequels. Maybe we learn there are bad elves.
Oh, maybe.
Well,
Have
wait.
you guys never seen the sequels? I was going to ask that.
Mm-mm.
No.
Not in full. I've seen.
Well, my wife
maybe
said the
parts
second
of it.
one is not nearly as good.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I remember there is a villain in one of them. I think it's Jack Frost or something.
That's the third one
Yeah,
with
Martin
Martin
Short.
Short. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's an elf, but
I don't think Jack Frost is an elf.
well,
What are the
in this
what are the
lore,
logistics around this? Yeah.
I don't know. Like, what is Jack Frost? Who is Jack
He's like
Frost?
a mythical being. Like he's like a
So he could be an elf.
he's like a no, he's like a
Hmm.
I don't really know how you just a spirit.
It doesn't seem to indicate that he is anything crazy. I read the description of the Santa Claus 3. Now that Santa and Mrs. Claus have the North Pole running smoothly, the Council of Legendary Figures has called an emergency meeting on Christmas Eve. The evil Jack Frost has been making trouble, looking to take over the holiday.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. The second one is all about how he needs to get married.
Mm,
It's like
mhm.
another
Yes.
stipulation of being
Yes.
Santa Claus is that you have
need
to
a
have a
Mrs.
Mrs.
Claus.
Claus, which begs to question what happened to the Mrs. Claus of the Santa Claus that fell off the roof? Where was she?
Also in
She
the
just
Santa
gets
Claus
banished.
right?
Like, sorry,
In the-
ma'am, you have to leave.
in the Santa Claus 3, Judge Reinhold is still in it. Wendy Crewston is still in it. Eric Lloyd as Charlie is still in it. So they're keeping on going.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's good though.
I mean, I'm not at all suggesting that, but if I had the paycheck coming, why not?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Abigail Breslin is in this as Trish. We've got Cupid. We've got the Easter Bunny. This is like Rise of the Guardians. Father Time.
Oh, they got to call in everybody to help.
Father Time is played by Peter Boyle, aka the head of marketing and Scott Calvin's boss at his company.
That's weird.
That's weird. Spoiler alert, I guess. Oops. My bad. I shouldn't be reading all the descriptions for the future Santa Claus movies.
Well, I'm meanwhile reading what the heck happened to Mrs. Claus the 17th. And there's a Reddit thread all about it.
Can't there just be one Mrs. Claus that they all share?
Poster said, the original poster said that their theory was when this is Pastor Brett UMC from 7 years ago. Said when Santa fell off the roof, a ripple in space-time occurred, resetting everything at the North Pole. Mrs. Claus simply blinked out of existence the moment her husband died. Note that when Santa fell off the roof, he disappeared, leaving his suit for the new Santa. Though Mrs. Claus may have lived at the North Pole for many years, it was as if she never existed and was remembered no more. This universe simply reabsorbed her energy, and any evidence of her existence was wiped out in an instant. Of course, this means a bleak future for the current Mrs. Claus.
Good Lord.
Wow.
I feel like maybe the creators didn't put that much thought into it, but
No. Why would you?
They were like, we 10x'd our budget at the box office for this movie and made a ton on home releases. We gotta come up with something.
Well, so that's what happens when you have an original screenplay and you don't know if it's going to be a hit or a flop.
Right.
You're like, oh, well.
Here's my next question. Do you think Santa Claus the 18th, Scott Calvin, is the first divorced Santa?
All the other Santas have had a partner at this point. Jeez.
That would have been a lot more complicated to have your wife come along that journey with you.
Right?
I don't know. And I assume, again, haven't seen any of them, but I assume he eventually somehow hands down power to Charlie, like hands the power over to him to be Santa.
I believe he. Okay, so I was doing some reading this afternoon, and I believe that is the original plan. But by the time it gets to the TV show, the actor who played Charlie only appears in like one episode, and he has new kids with Mrs. Claus, I guess. And so the Santa Claus series, I believe, is about finding a successor.
Oh,
so
because they say that,
yeah,
and that he only appears in one episode.
Wait, why does he need a successor?
So the premise of the TV show, which ran for 2 seasons, is Scott Calvin, serving as Santa for almost 30 years, believes that he's losing his magical abilities due to age and decides to choose a successor and retire. And some of the guest stars of successors include Peyton Manning and, well, that's the only one I see on this list.
Wait, but doesn't Tim Allen realize his wife is going to blip out of existence once he retires?
I don't know if that's true. That was a Reddit theory, Amanda.
Oh, they'll let her live.
Oh, and the little girl from the first film is grown up and played by Casey Wilson.
Oh.
And then Kevin Pollak is Cupid and Tracy Morgan is the Easter Bunny.
All right. Fair enough.
Sure.
It's fun. Yeah. Okay. So it's funny with the whole, or at least with the whole thought of this before the new lore has been established in the sequels in the TV show. I had always thought that if Santa falls off the roof, he's just dead. He's gone. He's whatever, which makes it even darker. At the end of the movie, Charlie's last line to Neil, when Neil's like, "You're going to make a great psychiatrist, Charlie." And Charlie's like, "No, I think I'm going to go into the family business." And I'm like, well, he's going to kill his dad. Great.
Maybe it'll be like like Prince Charles, and he'll just have to wait for a really long time.
Oh, it's a whole succession thing where it's like, okay, if Scott Calvin marries a new Mrs. Claus, they have a kid, that kid gets priority, and I don't know, like a whole I don't know. I forget the way British succession works with the whole monarchy or whatever. I forget.
It does, like, yeah, I do think, like you were saying, like they had to probably backpedal and put in all this lore, whereas like the original film was probably content to not worry about all that stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Like we did our job. It's fine.
Yeah. But then you gotta make more, so then you gotta get yourself in these little holes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Does anyone have any final thoughts or things they wanted to discuss?
One quick thing. The Santa Claus was the 4th highest grossing movie of 1994.
Wow.
Behind The Lion King, Forrest Gump, and True Lies. Fun fact. Yeah.
My only other thing I was gonna say is I wish I had a cookie machine in my car.
Yo, for real.
And a hot
Right?
cocoa dispenser.
Well, that too, but especially a cookie machine. That would be good handy at all weather.
Absolutely.
We also haven't talked about my personal favorite scene in the movie, which is the Charlie's soccer game and the chaos of the soccer game, where Scott is just watching and Neil and Laura walk across the field during the middle of the game. They stop in the field during the middle of the game as the children are just mindlessly running back and forth, kicking a ball. And I'm like, that is the perfect summary of youth sports that are not like travel level to a T. The ref is just like, hey guys, out of the way, just like real quick, not even a care in the world. Just or her grabbing Charlie and being like, come on, it's time to go. And Charlie's like, but I'm playing the game. Just like in the middle of the game, it's like, bye, you're gone. You're out of here.
It's too dangerous for him to be there and believing in Santa Claus.
Ugh. It'll mess with his game. He won't be able to go pro if he has any sort of distractions like this.
They're real killjoy, those two.
Seriously. God, Neil sucks.
Neil does suck.
The last thing I wanted to bring up is that it's interesting that in this world, there is no care if people see Santa or his sleigh and the reindeer.
No, not at all.
Because it's happened multiple times.
They're just like flashing it around by the end, like, hey guys, I'm Santa. Here's my sleigh and my reindeer. Watch me go. So it's just interesting that, you know, like with the North Pole pivoted from what other media has done.
Yeah.
Last thing I will say before we go. Topo Gijo.
That scene is classic. Classic. Père Noël. All right. Geoff, why don't you give us your movie recommendations?
Awesome. So my first movie recommendation is, I recommended it last week, but I'm lazy. I don't care. The Christmas Chronicles. Spoiler alert, it's going to be showing up on a list a little bit later on in this episode, but Kurt Russell's Santa Claus, and we have some chaos on Christmas Eve. Movie gets infinitely better when Santa is on screen. I would recommend The Christmas Chronicles first and foremost, which you can find on Netflix. The second one is a movie called Arthur Christmas, which is an animated British movie from the 2000s. I've actually never seen it, but after reading the plot description, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect kind of movie to pair with the Santa Claus. It came out in 2011, and it talks about kind of the succession of Santa Claus. And it's animated. It features the voices of James McAvoy, Hugh Laurie, Bill Nighy, Jim Broadbent, Imelda Staunton, Laura Linney, Eva Longoria. Crazy voice cast for a relatively, at least I don't know about this animated movie about Christmas. And then the last one I put was The Polar Express. And the reason I put The Polar Express is the idea about believing and realizing what Christmas is, and that, hey, Santa Claus is real. Just believe. Believing is more than seeing, and how everybody, Scott, Charlie, everybody comes around to the idea of Santa Claus being real, the North Pole being real. All of this is real. I think the Polar Express is a good example of that. And I know the Polar Express is a classic Christmas movie at this point. It was a classic book. I know Amanda's not a huge fan of that movie. I have it as a sweet spot in my heart. But yeah, I would pair the Polar Express with the Santa Claus.
All right, thank you. And Ben, any TV recommendations this week?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about them, so I'll keep it real brief. There's the Santa Clauses, the TV series on Disney Plus that ran for 2 years. And then, obviously, if you're into Tim Allen being a father of a son, Home Improvement would be your one, because it's also from this era. So, yeah, keeping it simple this week.
I like
Nice.
it.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Well, let's jump into our top 4 then.
Oh, and Conclave, I guess we should recommend too.
If you want to picture and come up with your own Santa Claus conclave. Good idea. Good idea. So, all right. So, our top 4 this week. As I mentioned at the top, we're doing our top 4 favorite portrayals of Santa Claus in movies and TV. So, Ben, why don't you go first today?
All right. So I have just a couple honorable mentions. I have Tim Allen in this one because I think the progression into Santa Claus is interesting. I have, this isn't really movies or TV, that the other 2 honorable mentions, but I put the 1950s like ads, like the vintage Santa Claus ads, that, like were in my grandma's decorations and some of the ones.
That's a good one.
Like when I think of Santa, like first blush, that's what I think of. And then the other one is I had a 2 to 3 year run as Santa at the winter concerts at the high school where I got to throw candy canes at the crowd. And apparently some people thought I was a little too aggressive with my candy cane throwing. And
that's
amazing. I started to play in the alumni piece and decided to stop. Retire as Santa. I did not get to pick my successor.
Incredible.
But it was a good time. All right. So anyway, my top 4 are actual movie and TVs after that little strange sidebar there. My number 4 is the Santa from Miracle on 34th Street, the original from the 1940s, played by Edmund Gwenn. I feel like that sort of ties in with like the vintage Santa that I was talking about, but also just a very kind spirit, like the spirit of the character there, I think. And I believe it was, what's his name from the 94 one had a
Richard Attenborough.
Yes, Richard Attenborough. Yeah. I've not seen the 94 one in full, so I didn't put that, but the original I enjoyed. Number 3 is Ed Asner in Elf. Ed Asner is an all-time favorite of mine, going back to the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I think he was a very perfect choice for Santa, especially for that type of Santa, kind of the cranky-ish Santa. I think that was just a very pitch perfect casting for that. As also shout out to Bob Newhart as the head elf in that too. Another sitcom legend. Number 2 is The Year Without a Santa Claus Santa, as voiced by Mickey Rooney. I love The Year Without a Santa Claus. That is one of my all-time favorite TV specials. And I really like Santa in it. He's not like my favorite part of it, but he's a great character, and the persona they have for him in that is very, very enjoyable. And I still wish that would be made into a musical, especially like a junior musical, because I would love to direct a musical like that. And I don't know why it hasn't been turned into a musical when every other Christmas property has, like The Grinch and Elf and Rudolph and, all those kinds of things.
You do it, Ben.
I mean, the great songs are already there. You already got showstoppers with Heat Miser and Ice Miser, but
yeah, so do it.
Yeah. Number 1 is a deep cut, but it is the Santa in the first Christmas episode of Bewitched from 1994, as played by a man named Cecil Kellaway. And the premise is that the Stevens, the main characters in the Bewitched, bring home an orphan for Christmas to spend Christmas with them. And this little boy doesn't believe in Santa, so Samantha the witch takes him to the North Pole to meet Santa. When she goes up, it's all in black and white, but it's very it's a very standard North Pole scene and stuff like that. But the Santa in it, to me, is like the most, like, if you were to describe like what would the perfect Santa look like and act like and talk like, and his demeanor, like, this is it. And I feel like it was just perfect casting, perfect portrayal. And it's not even that big of a part of the episode, but to me it is like the quintessential portrayal of Santa. So there we go.
Good list.
Thank you.
All right, Geoff, let's hear yours.
Awesome. So I have a couple honorable mentions. Ben, your point about the ads thing, that was a really good one. And I didn't even think about that. But the Santa from the M&M's commercials, I see with he does exist. They do exist. I'm like, that is a picture perfect rendition of Santa Claus. So I do love that commercial a lot. Some of my honorable mentions were kind of fun takes on the character, such as David Harbour and Violent Night. Shout out to our good friend Nathan.
I believe it's Jacob who actually.
Is it Jacob who likes that
I
one?
believe.
Okay, well, shout out Jacob.
I think they both do, but I think it's more Jacob's movie.
Okay, well, shout out Jacob. Also, I was gonna make it a bit, but I was gonna throw in Jim Belushi from Jingle All the Way as the cruddy mall Santa, but I was like, no, I won't do that. I'll make this semi-sincere. And also some voice performances, such as Edward Ivory from Nightmare Before Christmas or Stan Francis from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Those are all fun ones that I think about there. And then another honorable mention is Richard Attenborough. I've never seen The Miracle on 34th Street 90s version either, but when I think of Santa, that's sure what he looks like. So that's the only reason that's an honorable mention in my book. Number 4 is Kurt Russell, Christmas Chronicles. I've now talked about it 3 times in the last 2 weeks, which is hilarious because I don't really remember the movie at all, except that Kurt Russell was a great
holiday movie.
So great. Maybe
we're gonna have to watch it next year.
I know. This is dumb. So I'm not even going to talk about it more. I just thought he did a really great rendition of Santa Claus in that movie. Goldie Hawn was Mrs. Claus, and much like with Focus, it's really only good when he's on screen, though Focus has some charm to it. Number 3 is a voice role, but it is J.K. Simmons in the movie Klaus, where he's lost his wife and he lives by himself in this remote village up near the North Pole. And the main character of the movie is a male keeper who gets assigned to work in this town with rivaling factions within the town. And he comes across the J.K. Simmons character, the Santa Claus character, if you will, hidden away in this hill, discovers he has this gift for making toys. So they go about delivering toys throughout the neighborhood. It's incredibly heartwarming. Klaus is an incredible movie. Gets me really close to crying, which is really hard for me to do for movies nowadays. And yeah, I love that movie so much. And I think it's a really great rendition of Santa Claus. Number 2 is Ed Asner from Elf. Just the voice, the tone of the character, the way he's portrayed, the way plays such a prominent role both at the beginning and the end, clearly cares for Buddy. And he also, in his conversations with Buddy, you can tell he's been Santa for a while, and he tells him every way to survive, and he's there for Buddy. So loved Ed Asner's portrayal of Santa Claus and Elf. And the number 1 is Tim Allen from Santa Claus. I do enjoy this portrayal of Santa and the way he evolves to really embracing the character. Initially just using it as hey, this is my way to connect with my kid, and it's a way for me to top my ex's new boy toy. But I think that the way that he embraced it by the end and truly becomes Santa Claus is amazing. So Tim Allen as Scott Calvin / Santa Claus is my number 1.
Thanks. Good list. All right. So I think I have a lot of repeats on my list, so I won't have to talk about them too much. I have 2 honorable mentions. Well, first of all, I will say my version of this list is Santas that I had fun with. Santa, not necessarily like the Santas that I think most closely represent Santa, but some of them are, but not all of them.
I love it.
So my two honorable mentions, one being one Geoff already mentioned, but Jim Belushi and Jingle All the Way, because I just love that he's like a crooked Santa running this like scam, and the way he does it is just so good. And my second honorable mention is Sean Hayes in the Who Killed Santa, a Murderville murder mystery. And he barely does anything, but the fact that he keeps cracking up when he's supposed to be dead is hilarious.
Fun. I love that special so much.
Yeah, and I guess by extension, I should say Maya Rudolph and Jason Bateman when they have to pretend to be dead Santa. Number 4 on my list is also Kurt Russell in The Christmas Chronicles.
My goodness, this movie is getting so much attention.
We're going to watch it next year for the holiday season. Okay.
Yeah.
He's just like a really good Santa. He's a really good Santa. My number 3 is Tim Allen in The Santa Claus. I think he is one of those ones that I think really like exudes the Santa Claus personality really well, especially towards the end. He's very sweet and caring and jovial and just all the things that you want from your Santa. And I think they did a really good job with the way he actually physically looked by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
His suit and his beard and everything. So number 2 is Jeff Gillen in A Christmas Story. He is not a very nice Santa, but he makes me laugh. Him and his elves.
Ho, ho, ho.
Come on, kid. Because I have to imagine it's a little tough to be a mall Santa.
Yeah, especially at that mall where he's getting screamed at in the face every day. These kids are terrified. He's complaining about the smells of the kids, and yeah, it's bad.
This one's wet. Get him off. Get him off. And then my number 1 is Ed Asner in Elf. Both of you already covered it all. There's no more that needs to be said, but he is just a really great Santa.
Great Santa.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our The Santa Claus episode. Be sure to tune in next week. Well, I mean, you can't.
Unless you want to watch all the TV from 2025.
Yeah, let me explain. You can't watch along with us, but our next episode will be our best of TV. So our top 10 TV shows from 2025. So
yay, TV.
Woo! That time of the year.
Yeah, hopefully you've been keeping up with some of the TV shows throughout the year, but if not, now's a great time to catch up and tune in and hear what we liked the most this past year. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or review and follow us on all of our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.